What's up, guys? We'll be installing some LED headlights on this four-wheeler.
300 Fourtrax.
300 Fourtrax.
And this thing was already missing one headlight. We took the other one out, and we're going to show how we're going to make these little light pods work. So to start off with, we made some brackets. Let me find the bracket first. Right here. Just some scrap metal we had laying around, and bent it on an angle, cut a little notch out here so that we can install it here on this this little bar that runs, factory bar that runs up here. Let me see if I can get down there where you can see it. Alright, so you can see the bar here. This thing's got a winch in it too. I think that's actually probably the reason this headlight was missing, because it's pretty close to hitting the winch. So we're going to put this bracket in here. It goes in like this. I've already made one for the other side, and we actually have it drying right now, so you can kind of see the bracket right there. And we're going to tack weld that in there and bolt the actual light to here. And let me get that tacked in. This is I can give you some measurements on it if I could find the tape measure. Hand me that tape measure right there, right?
What?
So this is like some 1/8 inch steel, just some flat plate I had. You can tell it's got a notch cut out of it right there. That was it was already in there from the factory. I did notch that out. So it's about 2 inches long on the top side, and we bent it about 1.5 inches on that side, and that fits the light in there just perfect. So I'm gonna get this thing tacked in, and we'll bolt the light up on there, and probably go ahead and tack the other side on too, and then I'll show you how to wire these things up. Alright guys, I got this bracket painted up, welded on here. Like I said, this notch was just in the original metal. We just used some scrap stuff over here, so you won't have to do that. But I did notch this out to fit around the tubing. So it's bolted up on here. Just going to slide it into the hole, and then while I got it bolted, sometimes these bolts are tough to get back in once you get them in a tight spot. So I'm going to go ahead and tack it while it's lined up like this, and I'll cut the camera back on in a sec.
Okay.
You gonna say something?
What's up, guys? It's four-wheeler doctor, and we're about to weld this. Let me get out of the way.
No, let me do 2 more spots on the back side. Alright, I believe that's it.
Why is it?
Alright guys, there we go. We got it tightened up in there. We can, Riker, you're right in the way, buddy. We can move that light around. It's got just a hair bit of an angle on it, so we can tweak that thing up a little bit and get it pointed in the right direction. I'm going to go ahead and get the other side tacked in there too, but you can kind of get the gist of how it's going to work. Then I'll cut the camera back on when we get ready to wire these up, because I know a lot of people have questions about this. They may not use the same setup, but still may need to know how to wire up lights on their four-wheeler. So we'll get the other side tacked in there, and then we'll jump on the wiring. Alright guys, got the lights mounted up in there. Now comes the wiring. This pretty much works for any type of 12-volt light you would wire up on an ATV. We're going to use a relay. This is actually a 40 amp. It's a 5-prong relay. We won't use that center prong in this case. I buy these kind of in bulk, and they come with these little socket. It's actually got 5 wires on it. I'll go ahead and cut those off. These are pretty neat. They actually have a groove here that you can snap them together and put multiple relays in a line if you happen to need that. All right, so here's how the wiring goes. On the bottom of the relay, 5 prongs here. You got 1 prong that stands up a little different than the others. What you got, and actually they have numbers on them too, the 87 prong, which is the top one here, that will go to your battery. That's the positive 12 volt power that's going to power your accessory. So you tie it in here. We're also going to use a fuse holder, which I got it back there at the back by the battery, but so we'll have to run 1 wire from the battery up to here with this. I'm actually going to mount this over on the left side. Let me see, 86 prong, which is here on your left as you're holding the relay upside down, that goes to a ground. Since these lights already have to have a ground as well, power and a ground on both, what I normally do is tie those 2 grounds together and this ground together to just ground them all in one spot, just to keep everything together. We're probably going to end up grounding it to this front rack bolt or front bumper bolt right here. It's pretty close to the headlights and in close proximity, so we'll put a ring terminal on there and ground all those grounds together. Alright, the next one is this wire here, which is number 85. It's on the right side of the plug. It goes to the signal wire. Whatever you want to make it turn on. In some cases you might want to hook a switch up. You'd send 12 volts to this. In this case, what we're going to do, I'm going to end up using the factory wires. So I'm going to probe the factory plug and see which wire sends 12 volts to the factory lights on their low beam, and that's what we're going to use to power this. Like I said before, that center 87A prong, we will not use it. And the last one is the number, let me see, what number is that? 30. I believe that says 30. The one that stands up kind of funny. That wire there will go to your accessory. That's the 12 volts that will power the lights. So we'll tie both of these both of these red wires off of the lights together and plug them into here. And what this thing does is it just works as a switch. These lights here don't pull a whole lot of power, but some of the old halogen lights would, and if you tried to run them through just a normal switch, it would melt the switch. And what this does is takes the place of a switch. It's actually got like a little electromagnet in here that when you complete the circuit between this ground and this power, it pulls down this actual piece of metal, like a metal bar, and it makes a contact inside of this relay, and that's what connects the battery to your accessory. So it holds a lot more power than any switch or most switches you can buy, unless you get a real big switch. So it only takes just a little bit of power to make the thing actually work. So it doesn't pull much draw on our factory wiring that we're going to use as a signal wire, but it will work, you know, these lights fine and all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing wired up. I'll cut the camera back on in just a sec. When I get a few of the wires hooked up here, I may show how I connect it back there at the battery and all that. But let me go ahead and get started on these, and I'll cut the camera back on and show you what it's going to look like. Alright guys, I about got everything wired up here. We got 2 more wires to hook up. I still need to figure out which signal wire I'm going to have to hook up for the low beams. So I went ahead and switched the 4-wheeler on. I've got it on low. The wires for these come over here to the left side. On these Hondas, the green wires, normally the ground, the other 2 wires would be a power for your high beam and a power for your low. We're going to hook these up on the low beam. So I've got the ground terminal of my voltmeter here grounded right over here to this bolt that we used for all the other grounds, and we're just going to stick it in these ends here to see which terminal we need. So the blue one, we have nothing. The white one is our 12 volts. Just to check it, I'm going to reach up here and switch these lights off, and there you go. See, it kills the 12 volts. So that's going to be our signal wire there. I don't have a barrel connector, or I would just stick that in there and go on with it. So I'm just going to cut that connector off and butt connect that into our in this case our white signal wire for our relay to make the relay kick on and off. So let me do that, then I'm going to jump to the back and show how to wire up the fuse holder and all that to get power to the relay. Alright guys, I'm back on the back. What I'm going to do here is take just a ring terminal, and we're going to run one wire to the front for our power, but we also want to wire up a fuse holder. I also get these fuse holders in bulk too, so the way they come is a loop of wire. You just cut it wherever you want to make a connection. Make this one a little closer to the battery. So strip this out. A little too much wire on there. We'll crimp this on, and this is going to be what we're going to tie our wire to run to the front for our power, and we're just going to tie that straight in with the positive side of the battery and run. Most of these wires on this thing run up this left side, so we're going to run all the wires back along here, follow along the gas tank, and get back up to the relay. Wire that into that one remaining. See, in our case, it was a yellow wire, and hit the switch and see if it'll come on. So I'll cut the camera back on once I get this thing run up, and we'll get a fuse stuck in here. Probably I usually run like a 30 amp in it. That's probably a little overkill, but at least it'll keep the bike from burning down if it does end up shorting out. So I'll run a 30 in it, and we'll roll on with it. So I'll cut the camera back on right before I cut them back on. Alright guys, here's the moment of truth. Stick the fuse in here. Get it to slide in this connector here. Ain't the easiest thing to stick in there. It's actually a little bit more difficult if you try to do it with one hand. Alright, fuse is in there. So we got our lights off right there. Switch the key on, and cross your fingers that nothing catches on fire. And there we go. Little things are bright. I won't say they triple the amount of light that comes out, but dang, at least double. And so see, you flip it on the high beam, and since these are only like a single filament LED pod, it only works on low. So there you go. Real quick and easy install. Definitely a pretty big upgrade to the factory stuff. And I've used these for quite a while, and they actually last a pretty good while. The LEDs, they stay bright like that for quite a while. I got a set on my back of my pickup truck for backup lights, and they work great. Alright, well check out my other videos. This is just a little simple one I figured I'd throw together today. Got to pull the carburetor off this thing and clean it, and do a little work on the brakes. As you can see, they're nasty. So we're going to work on that here in a little bit, but I doubt I'll do a video. We'll need to go ahead and get this knocked out. So, alright, check out my other videos. Hit the like button, subscribe. Have a good day.